Don't be fake. Don't go around having a fake smile like, oh, I'm happy. Like, people know when you're being fake. Men and emotions. I truly believe we're into an era where it's okay for men to have emotions and express them. I knew for a fact when I was being raised that emotions were invalidated. It wasn't okay to cry. It wasn't okay to get mad. All that was allowed out of me was to be okay with what was happening or happy. But it usually wasn't happy. Internally, maybe I was. So as I got older, I know that I had anger issues. Things would build up, and I would blow up and just get super mad. And I never addressed this. I never really understood why. And it just was that way. I would just let things happen, compress it, and then it would be expressed at a time and in a manner that was not healthy. The bad thing about this is greatly leveraged against men because men will be picked at and picked at and picked at until they blow up. And then it's like, oh, you're the bad guy. You're the scary guy. No, I've put up with a lot of crap and then finally got mad about it. But when I dive deep into emotions, I realized that that's part of the human experience. Like, you have to realize that we're not supposed to keep our emotions separate from our human experience. They come in and we feel them, and they're there for a reason. They tell me how to react in the world. Like, if this happens, I feel happy about it, I'll do it again. If this happens and I feel sick about it, oh man, I'll avoid that or I won't do that again. Or if this happens and I get angry, there's a reason for that. Maybe it's an injustice. Or if I get sad about something. Now, here's where I think that a deep dive needs to be done for a lot of men. Not all men, but a lot of men. Sadness and being upset. A lot of times it's expected just to be externally stoic or just boys don't cry or just bury it deep down. Well, that's not healthy whatsoever to have this deep sadness deep inside of you that's never been expressed or had anybody to validate it. Um, Here's a memory from my childhood. I remember one of my puppies dying, and I was in my bedroom crying. I was a little kid. And my parents were a couple of doors over in the house, mobile home, and not a one of them came to me. There's two of them. Neither one of them came to me and be like, hey man, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. You know, tell me how you feel. It's just, I was ignored. So eventually I got to the point where it's like, oh, I don't cry because nobody's coming. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a crap. Which, in the grand scheme of things of the whole world, that's not true. People do care. But for my little world, nobody cared. And I know that there's other men out there like that. So look at this. So our parents were probably raised in a really messed up manner where they were not validated with their emotions and they weren't allowed to express them properly, and they just had to repress them, and they didn't know any better, and they passed that on, and that's a generational trauma right there. um like, I know my father had major anger issues and he would blow up, and I think that's part of what I learned also with expressing anger. You let it build up and you blow up, and um no amount of like talking to that man could get him to understand that it's okay to feel his emotions or to admit that he has sadness inside of him or made a mistake about how he did emotions or that he needs to learn emotions. And for us to be totally shut off like that and not to discuss them, that is not healthy whatsoever. So when I did a deep dive into sadness to really explore that, I learned that I would take the time in the right environment and I would just cry. I would just let it out. it's uncomfortable for men. Like, it's something we avoid. I know I did, because it's like, that pain is so deep. I don't want to touch it. But when we sit with our emotions and we cry and let it out and just boo hoo it out, you feel this weight and this burden lifted off of you. And those waves on that ocean just kind of recede, because it's almost like you're building a dam for the ocean. It's like, it's not going to last forever. There's eventually going to be a breaking point. Same with anger. That's why anger has to be addressed. In other videos, I've talked about, if you have a major amount of anger inside of you, you must find a healthy outlet and get it out. Otherwise, it will present in the worst possible time. So, same with being happy. It's like, if you're happy, you're happy. But you don't have to fake it. You shouldn't have this facade of, haha, I'm happy, 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 while underneath you're mad, sad, and angry. And on the surface, you just put on your face for the external world. That is not very healthy either. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, what I've learned, is feel through those emotions. When they come up, as soon as you can, sometimes you might have to put them to the side for a little while, but as soon as you can, feel them through. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Tell yourself it's okay to feel this, and validate yourself. So this feeling is the feeling of anger, and it is okay to feel angry right now. Or I feel super sad, and it is okay to feel sad right now. And when you validate yourself, it speeds up the transition of getting to that even kill point where you have the high emotions, the low sad emotions, and then the even emotions. So when you're happy, be happy. But if you're in public, don't put on a happy face. Don't put on a fake smile. That's not natural. Just be yourself. What are you feeling right then? Be honest. And when you do that, you come into more of alignment of what it means to be human, and having this internal system of emotions and being able to use it properly. And if we ignore it, like, we're not being as fully who we can be, if that makes sense. Because if we just choose to ignore all that, like, man, you're missing out on a huge part of the human experience. I've already said that several times, but it's like, you're a soul plugged into this body. It's like, you can taste stuff, you can touch stuff, you can see stuff, you can make stuff, and then you can feel stuff internally. We were made that way. And I already said something about this, but like, the generational traumas, I'm looking at the time, that have been passed down and passed down. It's like, if you want to be a curse breaker in your family line, be a man that doesn't pass on those horrible things, or the ways that those people thought you were meant to be human were passed on to you. Analyze yourself, go within, find out what is healthy, what is not healthy, what am I going to pass on, and what am I not going to pass on. And this takes an advanced level of awareness, because you shift from just saying, oh, it's just the way I am, to what is a better way to be? Because saying just, oh, that's the way I am, you're basically putting cycles on repeat. And this is going to happen again and happen again and happen again. And the more it happens, the more it reiterates that neural pathway where that action happens, or that word process happens, or that emotion pops up. Versus taking control of your mind. And I call this like taking the needle off the record. You come into a situation where you have this old way of acting or reacting, and you stop and you choose, how am I going to act right now? And in doing that, you're redirecting where the energy is going in your brain. The record's not playing right then, And now it's time to put in a new code of conduct or a new action to replace this old action that is no longer serving you. Here's what's happened. Here's what happens. When we do that to our children, they are learning this because they see our behavior and their subconscious will view this behavior as a memory. But when they get older, they no longer pull the memory up and see it. The brain is so amazing. It accesses this file and it literally like pulls out a 3-dimensional script or a 3-dimensional a player piano, and you put the little thing on there and it plays. It's basically like that, but it tells how the body moves, what emotions to play, and what things to say. And have you ever been there where you're like, oh man, I got mad the other day and my dad came out at me, or I was just like my mom for a second? That's exactly what it is. You're not seeing the memory, but it's pulling up and it's superimposing on you at that moment because the only reference you have of how to handle this situation is that reference your parents gave you. So you have to be able to override that to pass on better things to the next generation, to be a generation curse breaker, generational curse breaker. Because a curse are words that are put into your mind and you believe it. And so our parents can do that and not even know it because that happened from their parents and their parents. Where it's just, oh, this is the way they did it. So feel into your emotions. Find a safe space. Cry if you need to. Get angry. Be happy. Express them. Don't be fake. Don't go around having a fake smile like, oh, I'm happy. Like, people know when you're being fake. But I don't think fake people know when other people are being fake. But when you're living in your authenticity and you see the fakeness, it reeks of it. You're just like, oh my gosh, that's so fake. So, anyway. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Roadhouse, Spiritual Hard.